Welcome to Timeless Conversations, a channel where we talk about life and adulting,
the ups,
the downs,
and everything in between.
My name is Robina.
And my name is Sharon.
My name is Aisha. If you're new here, please click on the subscribe button. Let us grow together. If you're looking for a channel that talks about career, motherhood, and friendship, we are the right people. Today, we want to talk about something very important: friendship group dynamics. Yeah. So, ladies, you see, friendship is quite different. We have friendships where we have individuals like one or two, and then we have certain spaces where we belong, where we are more than 2, 3, 8, 20. Like it really could be as big as 20. And the challenges are different, of course. The reason why we belong to these groups is because, you know, they are very rewarding. They're highly rewarding. And if you fit in a certain space as such, you'll find that you'll find more growth. There is more impact on your life than there would be ever in the friendships that are one-on-one. But as much as they're rewarding, they also come with challenges.
Absolutely.
And the issues that are in these groups are different because of the personalities involved. We have different characters, we're not born together. And when you mix up all these character issues, definitely there are challenges that are involved. I would like to understand from you, what are the challenges that we could find in these groups, and how best do you think we can go about them so we can, you know, enjoy these groups?
I think one of the main challenges that happens in group dynamics is the issue of conflict resolution. You know, because there are so many parties involved, it's hard to come to a solution to one of the problems. So maybe you're disagreeing on where should we go or things like that. Maybe some people had a disagreement and then now they're causing some strife in the group. It becomes hard to resolve these challenges in the groups. And one of the ways that we can try to resolve this is by trying to see that, you know, hear from everyone, like get to hear everyone's perspective so that you get to know what happened. And then that you're able to come to a solution easily, as opposed to just hearing one-sided stories. Because most times where the issues are there is maybe one party feels like they're hearing more of this person's view and not paying attention to your issues as a person. But then, of course, when someone feels that way, it becomes hard. So that's when you need to think, maybe get someone who is neutral, who is not really like part of the group, so that everyone feels like they're not siding with the other person as opposed to me. But yeah,
Are there like leaders in these groups? I don't think so. Aren't you like equals?
There's always an alpha in them. Even where you're equals, like friends, you wouldn't think that there would be a leader, right? But there's a pseudo leader, the one that probably is listened to more, probably because of the shared interests, someone who like kind of you idolize. Or sometimes the one who actually started the group,
Or maybe that
becomes the leader. Because, I mean, for something to work out in a civilized society, someone must take the initiative to lead, whether they're given the mantle or not. They will find themselves structuring the group, initiating certain things, making sure that certain strategies are taken, just so to make sure that the group, you know, is somehow organized and there is less strife. And it's important in the conflict resolution.
Yes, I get that, but I'm just thinking in a group dynamic where there is no implied or appointed leader. What happens?
That's what I'm talking about, where there is no expressed leader. There is someone who has impliedly taken over that position. And by the way, even if you went to WhatsApp groups, there is an admin.
Usually, yes.
Even if it is not online, like WhatsApp, like just the way we are, we will say maybe for this particular season or for this particular activity, someone is taking lead, you know? And I think, especially for conflict resolution purposes, where someone is seen to be a bit neutral, might in a sense where there's no leader, someone who is seen to be neutral, or someone who is conflict averse, because some of us really like conflict. We thrive with conflict. So me, you wouldn't make me a leader for conflict resolution. You get it? But like really, I think this conflict resolution thing is for the better for everyone.
Definitely.
So if someone is picked on to lead that, I mean,
but what you've said about like how at least in every conflict there's most likely like a neutral person. Yeah. So you'll find maybe even if it's not like posted on the WhatsApp group, let's say it's like our WhatsApp group, and maybe you find that, let's say I have an issue with Aisha and Aisha has an issue with me, so I go tell Robina, and then Aisha also goes and tells Robina. So ultimately, in this instance,
You're put in the
you may
leadership
not necessarily
position.
be the leader, but somehow you've taken on like the mantle of being the one who is resolving the conflict. in the
Exactly.
group. But also what Aisha said about like there being like pseudo leaders, like without necessarily saying we have voted so and so as the leader. Because I remember for one of my friend groups, one of my friend groups, we started a circle with some friends, and there was really like no leader, no roles, nothing. Like, okay, we have a circle, everyone collects money, this is what we do by this date, this is what we've agreed. But over time, we're trying to like streamline it, like, because our hope is that it will become like, something really big, and then you get to hear about us.
okay.
We can't
But
wait.
That display
somehow when it came to like sharing responsibilities, like in the group everyone knows like the strengths of the different people, and somehow when it came to like, okay, so it's going to be the chairperson, like we all knew like, no, you'll be that the chairperson of, okay, we said we wouldn't call it chairperson, the president.
Because we want to be big.
Yes.
okay.
So it was very easy for us to decide and say this is the person who's going to lead. So yeah, even if there is no like designated leader, I'm sure in every situation you can find someone who will lead the conflict resolution, someone who is neutral, and then maybe like the implied leader of the group. If there is no,
That's interesting.
defined leader.
But is the implied leader willing to be the leader? But that's really, really interesting, because me, I don't have a lot of experience around friendship groups. Like the close-knit ones, usually I'm in Kayola. And Kayola usually has structures, there's a group rules and all that stuff. But also there's a lot of usually miscommunication in these groups. Like more often than not, someone will communicate something and it's misunderstood completely. Or some people will understand, others will not get it. And then they'll start like causing strife in the group, and yet they haven't just understood what the communication was, right? So because of that, people have different personalities, people have different, like we've studied in different places, we've come from different families, so we cannot all think the same. It's very natural for people to think in divergent ways. So a solution to that would be for like the leadership, the implied or appointed ones, to try and involve everyone and also break down the information that is being passed across, like break it down for even others that had not understood to like understand, but also encourage people to participate, ask questions, especially on those WhatsApp groups. I encourage people, especially the silent ones, to participate, create interesting topics that engages everyone so that you catch everyone's thought, right?
Yeah, I hear you, and but for communication, I think people just perceive communication the way they want. If someone is hell-bent on misunderstanding whatever is communicated, you will do nothing. Because certain people belong to groups just to cause chaos.
It's too much work that you choose to carry on your shoulder, sugar.
The chaos causer of the group.
Yes. So the trouble causers, maybe what you do is maybe have them on a side and communicate properly and ask questions. Where they don't understand, you make them understand. Otherwise, these are the very people that will take back, the lies and the misconceptions, and try to disorganize the entire group. And trust me, this is how most groups end.
That's very true.
Because communication is key.
Yeah.
And where there is a breakdown in communication, you are likely to face a backlash.
Very much, yeah.
The thing I know about groups, I've belonged to a group before. I say this a lot because I think this is one of the groups that I wholeheartedly belonged, and that's where I established my identity as a young woman when I was starting out.
Nice.
Yeah, so when I was in this group, I think one of the reasons why it was at some point getting out of hand was the cliques and the exclusions.
Those ones.
Yeah, every time there is a group, I think because of shared interests, I don't know, but people tend to have cliques within the group, especially if it's a bigger group of 10 to 20, 30 people. You
Even
find
five.
That, even five. Then even three, actually. I've heard of that duo in that trio.
Oh, duo in that trio. Yes.
So you find that the people who actually share interests suddenly find themselves together more often than the rest. So in the bringing each other together, they find belonging, and drift quite apart from the rest.
The
So
group,
it causes the bigger group to sort of disintegrate.
Exactly. And then the exclusions, the part where people, you organize something and then someone just deliberately stays away and gets excluded from the bigger picture. That is one of the reasons why groups face problems. And I think one of the solutions you could bring on board is to try to engage, like you said, engage everyone at the same front. If you're organizing something, you could bring all of them together on a round table to see what works for everyone. Like try to have people's thoughts and opinions validated so that people do not feel out of place, for them to now start looking for cocoons where they can be heard, right?
Those friendship groups.
As we keep discussing more and more, I keep realizing that even in the those the friend groups, the dynamics, there's like the dynamics where it's like a group of people who have come together, they don't really know each other, but like a group has been formed and they have like a common purpose they're trying to achieve. And then there's those friends that have, maybe they went to school together, went to uni together, and the dynamics can really be different.
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, because when you talked about cliques, I remember one of my friends mentioning that this is now when we're all like in a good space and all that.
You're getting comfortable sharing hard truths. Yeah,
guys, I'm sorry. One of them said that you guys, I remember when we were at campus. This is just like 10 years later. I remember when we were at campus, you guys used to feel like,
you were the ish.
You were the ish. I could never even invite us. Like we're in the same group, but you guys would go out and not even like invite us. And then
you were the people.
Now these other friends were like, really? Like we didn't
For
even
you, it
realize
was
we
natural.
were doing that. You guys. So it just brings up the fact that sometimes when these cliques, it may not really like be intentional.
Yeah.
But you have to actually like be very mindful about it, especially if you're like that who has brought these people together. So not necessarily like the leader, but if you're that who has brought these friends together, the group admin and all that, like you have to be very mindful and alert to it, so that you try and make sure that everyone is like part of the group
and they don't feel left out.
They don't feel left out. Like if you're communicating, if you're going out, communicate so that the rest decide whether they want to go or not. And
but also why it doesn't, I think there's a place for initiative as the person feeling left out. Like you initiate, like say, guys, what's going on? Why are we so quiet? Because maybe people are chatting on the side, right? So I think it's also good for you as the person feeling left out to initiate and say, guys, what's going on? Like, what are we doing this time around? Like, what's going on? Because people are silent and maybe you think that things are happening aside.
But don't you think it's tiring to be the friend that always has to be reminding the rest that, oh, you have left me behind?
It probably is, but
definitely
if it is important to you, I feel like it doesn't have to do that. Is it better than being left out?
It's better. I think it's better to leave the entire group.
And that's what I'm saying. If it is important to you and you still want to be there,
Yeah.
you need to invest in it and also communicate your needs and say all your dissatisfaction and say, I feel like you leave me out most of the times and stuff like that. That's where the communication comes in. Because I feel like saying that the admin or the leader should be the one to be mindful, you're putting a lot of responsibility on them and not giving room for that person to have initiative and make sure that they are not left out.
So they're both important.
Yes, I'm not nullifying that, but I'm just saying both should work together.
You know, I'm picking a different vibe from this conversation because either I'm a bad communicator or I attach a lot of importance to myself. Because honestly, I'm one of those people that will never sit at a table where I'm not wanted. Like seriously, I will never come to a group well knowing that they had a dinner that they could have told me about. They did not tell me about it. I got to know about it through another person. But I'm a part of the group, right? And then I have to remind them that you left me behind.
When the problem arises and you see that it's a problem and this group is important to you, that's what I'm saying. If it isn't, let it go. Like if you feel that this is not serving me anymore, let it go. But if you still feel that this is still important to you, this is something you can still pursue, this friendship is still something that you value, then I mean, communicate and make sure that you're involved. Like tell the people what's up.
You hold them accountable so that they know that someone is actually checking them.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I mean.
I agree with you. But then I also think that there should be a balance in group needs and individual needs.
Yes, absolutely.
Because every person comes with a different perspective to that group. People have different interests. And then because you have to match them all up for the group to actually have one single purpose or like whatever it is where everybody is on top of the game. They are all on the same table having the same discussion. The conversation is like you're not speaking Chinese and French to a Ugandan. You all understand each other, right? So the thing is, like I said, yes, there might not be a leader, but let everyone be involved. Like let meet each other along the way.
Yeah.
So that one person does not feel left out, or they will feel like there are certain people that are favored, whose opinions are heard, that for them, when they bring up something, it's not valued, right? And for me, I feel like one of the reasons why groups actually have problems is that the leaders have not taken initiative. Okay, I say leaders a lot, because I feel like every group should have a structure. Yeah. And meanwhile, those leaders are like idols.
Are they?
Trust me, for me, all the groups I've been in.
And that's why I was saying the dynamics. So that's usually now the groups that have been set up, you don't really know each other, but then, like...
If we even the friends...
Even the friends...
Yes. Let me tell you, okay, Robin at least knows the group that I was in. We were together in there. I used to idolize these girls. Like they were living the life. Hey! They were living the life. I mean, we were just starting out in life.
Yeah.
Yet we were having people who had won scholarships, who had met the queen, who had moved abroad, who had switched like important jobs, not these ones of Sonia,
they
officer, what
had it all
yes,
figured out,
they had it all figured out. And you really wanted to have your life figured out, just like they were. So here you are. If your needs are not heard, you will feel a certain way, a certain type of way of like maybe you start even getting inferiority complex. Maybe they are not listening to me because I've not moved to the UK, I've not traveled overseas before, I've never been on a flight. You get it.
Yes.
But if they have taken initiative to bring everybody on board, to like, I'll give an example. these groups that organize trips, girls trips, none of you is unemployed, and they have voiced their concerns that they cannot afford. If you go ahead and disregard them because they cannot afford, do you see how some of an issue is going to crop up? And yet, if you could address and say, you know what, you guys, we would love to go for a girls' trip, but one of us is unable to do this. Maybe can we pull up resources, or maybe can we support them? That is what I'm talking about.
When you talked about the girls' trip, I remembered a certain TikTok that was going around about some girls who had a trip, and then it didn't really go so well for one of them. I don't want to really go into the details.
What happened? We want the gist.
They killed her.
No!
Yes.
You guys didn't. I did.
No, fill us in. I would love to hear that.
It
I
was
didn't see
it
the
was
TikTok.
What was
it
the
in America.
reason?
Was it true?
Yeah, like a real story.
Wow.
Wait, the one who was beaten up, eh?
Yes, like they beat her up. So
I think I
really,
remember
yeah?
that. The Black American girl.
Yes, so as you're talking about, like, if
it
you're
can get
feeling
that
like,
nasty.
Yes, so if you really feel like, you're always being sidelined, man.
Yeah,
I
keep
think-
away.
I think first of all, no, are these people actually your friends, or are they just people with whom you're in the same group with? Yeah, because you can be in the same group, but when they're not really your friends. So you need to know if they're your friends and if they have your back. So I just thought I should put that out there when you mentioned like that.
That is extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it is.
Like borderline extreme. Because
but these are things that are
Happening.
These are things that are happening.
I can't wrap my head around
And
that
you know what
because-
is crazy? I've heard of people that form groups to feel superior.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
How
girls are
inferior can
crazy.
you be?
Girls are crazy. You know people form groups.
Pass and admin hand.
Which powers to remove and bring
I'll
back?
tell you, I'm supposed to go ahead.
Honestly, people are crazy. I know people who have felt this thing of self-esteem actually. Teaching our children self-esteem is real. I know people who collect girls that are not doing well to be a part of them. So for them, they shine brighter.
Oh my God.
It happens.
That's like the worst reason to even
It
collect people
happens.
together.
Yes, because they want to be worshipped.
Oh God.
It's looking for validation.
Validation. You don't know narcissists.
Validate yourself.
That happens a lot. A lot. And sadly, as a young woman, you will not notice until you also establish yourself. And then you start to add up things.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, that happened. Okay, that happened.
You realize how toxic that
Was. And yet at that time, it was so
Didn't realize
fulfilling.
it. Yeah.
It happens.
I am still in shock that someone takes the
Honestly.
time
Yeah.
to collect people
That effort.
together.
Yes.
The time, the emotional investment, just for
Because,
you to feel a certain type
Yeah,
of way.
they get
So-
the validation, so it's fulfilling them.
Yeah, and the other funny thing that we used to do in high school, it used to happen a lot. I think for those crazy schools that we went to where we used to go to parties, you find that a beautiful girl must always have an ugly girl by her side.
It's for her to shine.
Yes,
You
I swear these
guys.
things are happening, you guys. They do happen.
Wow.
So when they take a photo, they are easily recognizable. They happen. But these are toxic things that if you were on the lookout,
Remove
Yes.
yourself.
Detach.
from such a place.
detach immediately. But if you don't have the information like we are giving out here, man, you guys, you're getting knowledge from here. Detach.
Yeah.
Detach.
Yeah.
It might not be easy, of course, given that
Yeah,
you're
sometimes
learning.
sometimes
you're also
already
getting
invested.
value.
Yes.
Thank you. And friendships, like I normally say, you nurture friendships just like you nurture your other romantic relationships, sibling relationships.
Yes.
You don't easily detach from such. You don't want to lose a friendship just because of someone's narcissistic tendencies.
No, but I have come to realize I have a personal experience. And honestly, sometimes actually people don't realize what they're doing, because even them, they're vulnerable. Like, we're not justifying what they're doing, but they're also vulnerable. I
How
remember,
so?
and they may not realize that they're doing it.
Yes.
Because I remember one time, back in high school, I had a friend, like, honestly, whenever I would meet this friend of mine, she literally had nothing good to say. She'd be like, your hair, this, like, every time we would meet,
Those low-key
she just
jabs.
nitpick, like, it's like nitpicking, like, just looking for like the bad things. And
Did you realize it at that
did.
time?
You cannot
did.
realize it at that time.
Fortunately, I did, by the way.
Oh, you
I
did?
just thank God for the grace to realize that. And I
That is
remember
real discernment.
like distancing myself from her. I'm like, you know what? Like, I can't take this negative.
That negative
Yeah.
vibe.
And funny thing is that she's still my friend. That's why I'm saying she may have not realized that she was doing that. But I realized it, and like, I tried to give her space, give her some bit of space. But
So
yeah.
how did you get back together?
We
From
never
that
stopped
space?
being, we
Oh.
never stopped being friends. That's the thing.
You
Like,
just
we
gave her a
continued-
bit of distance.
Yeah, we continued being in the friend group, but I just gave her distance. Like, instead of being as close as maybe like intention I was with her, for my own peace and safety and mental health, I distanced myself. Yeah.
That was very discerning of you at that age. I don't think
this
some of
was
us
when
would
I
have
was in high
noticed.
school, like vacation time and all that.
Plans, children.
No, but that takes a
You're
lot of
becoming a-
self discovery, like knowing yourself. Because if you know yourself, nobody can invalidate you.
Yes.
If you know yourself and what you're able to do, who you are, no one can say anything about you.
Say otherwise.
Yes, but that is something that is instilled in you through childhood, like right as they're raising you. But not everyone has that chance.
Exactly.
So if you find someone who was not raised that way of the self-awareness, they don't know who they are, someone else will just pick on them. Before you know it, they are a shadow of them of their former selves. You've seen people who lose it after some time. You find them and you're wondering what happened. Kumbe someone was out there invalidating them,
Yes.
and they had those things, they took them in, internalized it, those things, and before you know it, you're becoming a shell.
You're becoming what they kept speaking
Telling
of
you.
about you. Yeah.
Yes.
And you see, the Bible says that life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Thank you.
And you see how we do affirmations of saying positive things to ourselves and to our children. Now, if someone is speaking into you, pouring negativity into you, most likely you get to turn out to be what they were saying, because it's a seed that is planted, and if you keep thinking about it and meditating on it, it is watered and it grows and becomes so big. So, Banana, if you're in such a group where they are talking negative things about you,
Detach.
go different ways, because these things magnify. Like, you start meditating upon, like, you start thinking about it and giving it time, and it will grow.
True.
Yeah.
And people with self-hate actually want to put it to other people. Like, if you're able to, and please, if it were, I think it is something manageable if maybe another group member or another, but if it's the leader who has self-hate and wants to transfer it to everybody else who gets into their space, like, negative energy is real.
It is.
And before you know it, it is affecting your work life, it's affecting your social life, and really, it's not advisable.
But also, this doesn't nullify that your bad manners will get called out. Don't hide under positive
Self-awareness.
energy and all that stuff. No, they will call out your bad manners, and that will not be hate in any way.
No, it won't.
Like, we also know ourselves.
Yes.
Introspection. Look within you and see whether what they're saying is actually not true before you start saying people are toxic. Because sometimes we are the ones with the bad manners.
Yeah. True.
But me, I'm still curious. What powers do group admins have?
whatever they do, before you know it, you're still typing, quarreling. You're blocked, you no longer see the profile
I
picture.
recently experienced it. Like recently, it wasn't like a friend group,
And
but
you guys are having trauma there.
it wasn't like a group with friends. You know, like those groups, maybe like real estate group. What groups those ones?
You know you guys are making money in this Kampala.
You'll be there.
Real estate.
So one day we wake up, a group that was very open. People share opinions, ask for advice. You know how like group admin has turned off what? Like no one, only admins can post. Like just out of the blue. So one person left the group. So one of the admins comments, "Hey, now people are leaving." So me, I don't keep quiet. I reply. You know how you can reply.
Oh, you were part of the
directly,
admins?
No, I wasn't. I replied
Reply, you have
directly.
the, yes.
I told them like, well, maybe it's because you all didn't like tell us anything before you went and closed. Meanwhile, I'm one of those people who never posts on this group.
I know. You were just having kajanja. That's
I was like, maybe it's because you didn't really communicate, you know, that this was going to happen. Maybe it happened and some of us didn't know. A week went by. Then one day they woke up and like
opened
it again. It's like they opened a can of worms, you guys. People wrote, you guys, you think that by being group admin, you're the queen, bitch, you what?
It was closed.
It was, no, like
They
that's
never
when
closed
now-
it after.
They finally closed it, and
I
then
knew.
that's when, like the
Another one was
overall
opened.
group admin now came and wrote a long letter, like before my own self-esteem over what my everything. Okay, fine. I understand. Maybe it was for her own peace of mind that she closed the group, but it could have been done better. Like,
Thank
we
you.
are
Especially
adults.
adults. Thank you. Thank you. People take this age thing for
No.
granted. We are adults.
We are
We've come a
adults.
long way.
Some of you adults are not mature.
By the time I choose to be in your WhatsApp group, I don't just allow to be in groups, but if I'm in that group, it's because I feel like
Yes.
I'm going to learn something from here.
Thank you.
But admins,
They have power.
And admins in Deco. There was another group actually. Thank you for reminding me. You know these groups that give marriage advice. Manage women there as if are slaves of this century.
What do you mean?
You girl. Me and Mike Janja. I go into this group. A friend of mine who thinks that I'm actually good at, marriage and what I'm doing it, I'm killing it. Now they add me to a group. I reached there. Women's man of Mutundwe. And forgive me. But they were there. The things they were talking about, you guys, for me, I felt like that was slavery. Apparently, man, you wait for the man, and then you remove the shoes.
But that is our tradition, isn't it?
Okay, fine, but don't.
So how did you react? Did you comment?
I told them off clearly.
Did they chase you out of the group, Aisha?
I didn't last a day there.
Like they just removed you from the group. Oh my god.
I was toxic. I was the toxic
Clearly
friend.
you were.
I went them and assured them, you guys, marriage is not supposed to be like that.
Understand the purpose of the
I
group. Or
think
maybe
so.
your friend didn't understand
Who you
who
were.
you were as a person and know that Aisha can't be in this group.
Seriously, I want to believe that the perspective of marriage I see is different from
Their
theirs.
view. Yes.
So when they added me and I saw that and too bad I didn't even internalize exactly what they were doing. Me, I just got there, I disagreed, and violently.
Thank God
Before I
they
knew
chased
it.
you. You were in the wrong place.
I was. So I think partly what we need to tell our people here is that find out if you actually align with the group's purpose.
yes.
Otherwise, you'll find yourself in situations where they don't align at all. Like you disagree with everything, their values, whatever they are doing, you're not on course.
Yes. But also don't touch too much importance to some of these groups. Especially ones where you are not close.
You're not
knit.
friends. Oh, yeah.
It's just a group. For example, for, let's say, Old Girls Association from like 1990s up to 2023.
Those are generations and generations.
And you're trying
of
to
people.
chew beef on such a group?
How
No.
do you chew beef with
Don't.
with an old girl of 70?
Exactly my point. Because for me, I honestly go slow. First of all, joining groups and then participating and then attaching importance to them. So I ranked my groups really. There are those that are very important to me, and if WhatsApp only allows me to pin 3, I pin the important ones up that I need to respond to, that are important to me. Then there are those that I'm just in because I need to be a part of a community that I was once a part of, and stuff like that. Yes. That's what you do. So for me, those ones, if they're talking about something interesting and something that I personally relate with, I will contribute. But if not, I'll really just let it pass. I do not touch so much importance to some of these very big groups that are not close-knit, honestly, because you just break your heart for nothing. That you go see you landed into a group where people are talking about marriage, things that are different from what you believe
Ladies in their 40s, Kati, what was I going to learn?
Exactly.
People who are not in your age group, who don't have
you can
similar
learn,
interests.
but you need to, your values should be aligned.
The relatedness, I think. The reason why I say that, for age specificity, the relatedness is narrow. Because the things that they talk about, yes, they are valid, but might be impractical for me. There are things that I regard as slavery, yet for them, see.
No choice of words.
No, maybe.
Serious. Marriage is not suffering to me.
Yeah, that's true. But just to bring some context, so I think that's where we need to really assess, first of all, our participation in a group. Yeah. Not everything that's going to be put in the group is, like it's not the Bible truth.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, see the information that you're receiving. If you feel like it's, it builds you, then take it on. Like, keep digging further to know if you want to know more. But if it doesn't add any value to you, or if it's not like building you, then just ignore it. Like, do that thing, like open, and then,
don't read
close. Like, just
and Mike
the number of like 100 messages. Like, it's now 100. Open, then
close.
Like, and close again.
Katini and Micah Janja. The Holy Spirit was telling me these people are indoctrinating other women. They are teaching wrong doctrines.
You and your Kajanja.
I swear to God. And I kept on telling myself, if I don't call these guys out, they are going to be teaching people wrong doctrines.
But you know that those...
It's culture. It's
culture, fine.
Actually.
It is culture and whatever, but for me, I feel marriage is personal.
Proverbs 31.
Actually, that is how they used to call that group.
Proverbs 31.
Proverbs 31. And by the way, we will have another session where we divulge that Proverbs 31 woman.
We will.
Because she was suffering.
Was she?
She was.
No,
we shall look into it. Me, I got a different...
You got a different revelation.
I have a different revelation on that scripture.
But you see,
she was waking up at 5 in the morning. Why?
Before what time do you want to wake up?
Sleep is in bed at 7.
Toxic positivity. Should I call it
but
that?
Something like that.
Save the information.
Indeed, see.
Yeah, but also
check out what is good.
You can't,
because I think there's a lot to learn, but just like there's also a lot of like to unlearn. So like, wait, don't just trash everything.
True.
It's not relevant.
True. However, I also learned that this internet era presents us with a lot of information. So if you're not wise enough to discern what works for you and what might not, because what works for you and what's practical for me could be different.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's up to you to weigh and see what is relevant, and you leave what is not. Otherwise, if you take in too much information, you will end up with too much information that cannot be used.
Of information overload.
Yes.
Yeah, so we really need to be careful to know which groups to
belong,
nurture and water and put effort and emotional investment in, rather than try to be everywhere and end up nowhere. Exactly.
Yeah, so we have seen that clearly the cohesion in groups is different from the ones that we normally have as one-on-one or two or whatever. It is different. So what I advise is try to understand the character in your friend group. the different personalities. And, you know, like, if you touch base with all these people, you will understand what sparks each one off and what works for them. And I think to better have good relationships and friendships is whatever good you have seen in someone, water that.
Yeah.
And when you feed the good and positive in that someone, it will sprout and even cover up for the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for coming far along in this episode. We loved this one. I hope you do too. Thank you so much to HD Media. Shout out to you for this wonderful production. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share in all your circles. Let us know, how is it going there? Are you finding value in your groups? Are you finding challenges? Do you have similar challenges? And what are the solutions that you guys out there are putting in to have these relationships work? We love you, and please subscribe and be a part of our growing community. Also, we would love that you share this information to your friend groups. Let them know that we are watching them.
We have been talking about you even.
Yes, we did. And we would really love your feedback.
Yes.
And about how we did in this particular episode and what would you love to watch on the Timeless Conversations. Until next time, bye.